Next up, we have the Banshees of Ed Sheeran. I mean, the Banshees of Inisherin, which I've been screwing up a lot. I didn't have a chance to see this one either, but Jesse and AD both did. Jesse, what are you feeling about this one? This is another Oscar contender. How do you feel?
Yes, and rightfully so. It's a fantastic movie. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I saw it actually a while ago. I saw it a few weeks ago now. It's Colin Farrell, and I can't remember the other guy's name. Brendan Gleeson, I think it is. I think it's Brendan Gleeson. Live in Ireland during the 1920s, and after the First World War. And it's a very simple premise. Brendan Gleeson doesn't want to be Colin Farrell's friend anymore. They've been friends for most of their lives, and he just one day goes, "No, I don't want to be your friend anymore." Colin Farrell's struggling to understand why that is, and as the movie progresses, Brendan Gleeson has kind of like an existential crisis. He wants to be remembered for something. So he starts creating music, and yeah, it was a fantastic film, brilliantly written, funny in spots. Colin Farrell's kind of he's described in the film as this. He's described as film as the second dumbest person on the island or something like that. After Kerry Condon, who's also fantastic in the movie. It was just a beautiful film, and I really love all of Martin McDonagh's films. They're all fantastic. The only one I'd probably say I enjoyed In Bruges a little bit more. But this is just a really well made film that I just thoroughly enjoyed, and it tugs the heartstrings a little bit. There's an element that's relates to real life. Sometimes relationships end or friendships end, and it's just sometimes Colin Farrell's trying to understand why this is happening, why this has happened, and it's great. I just thought it was fantastic. So,
what about you, Eddie?
Cool.
You did, right?
Yeah, I did, and Martin McDonagh has done 7 Psychopaths, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which I really loved. So I was very keen to see this. He's just a cool guy, and I love watching all the roundtables he does because he's just a wealth of knowledge and genius, and he's really funny. With Banshees, it does have comedic elements. I love Colin Farrell. I love him. I love pretty much everything I've seen him in. And he's able to be so devastating, but still really funny. And that's one of my favorite things about him in this film is he gets to do that pretty constantly. I was reading, I did a deep dive after I watched the film. First, I wanted to know what a banshee was. And I looked that up.
It's a ghost, isn't it? Or something to do with death or a ghost or something?
Yes. So a banshee is, in Irish folklore, it's a female spirit that if you hear her scream or wail, it means someone is going to die, in your family or a loved one. And in this film, there is this hooded, old, gross, cloaked, witch-looking lady who everyone
creepy.
Runs away from.
Yeah,
in the whole town. She doesn't affect the story. She's just present all the time. She's she's a foreboding figure in the film, and so
her presence is very symbolic. And then she makes one announcement where she mentions, I think she says 2 people are going to die.
2 people will die. Yes.
So if you understand her presence, it makes the ending of the movie very symbolic as well. So she brings that horror element into it, because I feel like she almost gets uglier and scarier the more you see her in little bits as it goes on, and her presence just makes you uncomfortable. So it does get more horrific as it moves on, especially as he starts the fingers start getting cut off, and it just gets, the whole dynamic is really screwed up. And I was reading that apparently
this film is a metaphor for the Irish Civil War, in that
Yes.
they were the ones who destroyed themselves because of a stupid fight that was really unnecessary. And I feel
Huh.
like that was really, I think that's a pretty accurate way to describe it, as well as Martin has said in a couple of interviews, like it is just a plain look at the end of a friendship and the grief that comes along with that. It's just a human piece. Like there's not really this like redemption arc or like justice or whatever. It is just a plain and simple look at the deterioration of a friendship.
Yeah, it's a very
Yeah.
simple premise, but there's a lot of meaning and heart behind it. And I
Mm.
loved how Colin Farrell kind of balanced his bumbling foolishness with his him trying to emotionally understand why this was happening and why he had lost his best friend. And I liked how everything as well is like, oh, what are you gonna do today? Oh, I'm just gonna go to the pub.
Yeah.
Have a pint.
Ah.
Like that's literally their whole lives. That's all they do.
Uh-huh.
They just go to the pub and have a pint, and
Simple times.
it's
Simple,
just
That's it.
there's just
simple
nothing
lives.
else. But it's just like it's nothing else there. I don't know.
It's the whole thing is like just everyone's grieving in their own sort of ways in this really depressive state that they're living in. I need to give a shout out as well to Barry Cogan.
Yeah, he was
I
so
don't want to
good.
ruin his name, but oh my God, he was so good in this. And even there's a scene he has opposite Kerry Condon, who's
Which is really
Colin
good when he
Farrell's
gives her
sister.
the yasses her out. Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
Yeah.
and the more I think about it, like I feel like the more that time passes and you sort of like you let the movie sit with you, the more comes out of it. Because initially after I watched it, I didn't really feel like I don't know, I didn't really know what I'd experienced fully. I just knew that I felt uneasy and just very, I don't know, a bit violated, and I felt sort of the suffocation that they felt. But as time has gone on, I've really like looked deeper into, you know, those relationships and the whole dynamic of that era and what was going on. And I feel like it's a very deep piece.
And it's something everyone can relate to as well, because everyone's gone through, a sudden breakup or end of a relationship or a friendship or whatever it is. Like everyone can relate to that. Everyone's gone through that. My favorite
Yes.
scene would have to be, or one of my favorite scenes would have to be when they're in the bar. Colin Farrell's trying to, why are we friends anymore? Why are you doing
Uh-huh.
this? He's drunk. And
Yes.
Brendan Gleeson goes, well, I want to be remembered for something. No one's going to remember me for being nice. And then Colin, and he's like, I want to be remembered for music like Beethoven. And Colin Farrell goes, oh, I don't know any of them, but I remember you for being nice.
Yeah,
So,
I
what a
loved that.
fantastic scene that was. Yeah.
It was great. It was so good, and a perfect showcase of why I love him as an actor as well.
Mm,
Yeah, great film. Great film.
it was a very good film. See it, Matt. Go and see it.
Will do. I wanted to see it before this episode. I ran out of time, unfortunately. Oh.
It's okay.
Looking forward to seeing it and see how it runs with the Oscar race.